Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to the season finale of our F125 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we've made it all the way to Abu Dhabi, 23 races down and just one more to go. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live yesterday from Qatar, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out because we officially crowned a new Formula 1 World Champion. Charles Leclerc, a 41-point lead at the top of the table, only 25 points left available this season. He and Ferrari have done it after long last, and I'll be honest, it's been a very, very good campaign by the Monegasque man as well. I mean, in the second half of the year, apart from the DNF in Kota, he hasn't finished, he's finished lower than second once since Silverstone, which is honestly quite astounding. I hadn't kind of appreciated just how well he'd done of just finishing first and second so many times late on. There are still a lot of things that need to be decided though. 3 points in it between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen for runner-up honours. We are admittedly now a long way behind Aston Martin and Fernando Alonso. We basically need a win today if we want to try and outscore them, which, I'll be honest, I'm not holding my breath over. Williams could still jump us theoretically, but again, they would need a really, really good result today. So we're just going to try and go out and enjoy it. Again, a massive thank you to everybody for all the support throughout the entirety of the year. And yeah, let's hopefully finish on a high.
Welcome along, everybody. It's the fastest day of the week, qualifying Saturday, and we're here in Abu Dhabi.
Well, I must admit, it's always a little bit weird coming back to Abu Dhabi for the final race inside the F1 games. The track, although it's obviously been tweaked and changed over the last few years, is better than it was. But ultimately, yeah, this is a circuit in the games where the AI are quite strong. You need, a really, really good car here if you want to be able to maximize results. It's not really a circuit that gives you many upsets. It's just always pretty much the fastest car will be able to dominate proceedings, but we made a lot of progress over the course of the season, and it is always nice to hopefully see some of that validated here in the season finale as well. So as we head out into Q1, I would love to make Q2. I don't know whether we're going to have the pace in the car though, but of course this is both Callum Boyson and Dennis Hauger's last Formula 1 race for the foreseeable future, so I don't know whether we're going to see any other teams try and hire them. Because of course, yeah, we've obviously got, we're taking Tsunoda from Red Bull, Ferrari in need of a new driver as well for next season. I will be doing pre-season testing, but obviously a lot might change by then. Can't wait in all. It is good fun, this final sector in qualifying trim when you're trying to hang on to the car through these final few corners. Tip it in though, that final turn, really difficult to spot the apex, so 1:23.8. We go quicker than Hulkenberg and Doohan, slower than Albon. That seems about right. But there we go. Like I said, Verstappen fastest, but Esteban Ocon up in P2 there. Very worried to see Williams looking strong as well, courtesy of Alex Albon. Lando Norris barely squeezing through into Q2. We were half a tenth clear of Pierre Gasly there, so happy we've made it by. Hauger will line up P20 in his final F1 outing for the foreseeable future. If we can go any higher than 16th, I'm going to be pretty happy in Q2. Well, Esteban Ocon then is currently the man on the cusp on a 1:23.296. We need 0.4 of a second here. We want to make it through into that final qualifying session. And let's just see if we can try and give Callum Boyson one last thing to smile about this year. Winner of the Monaco Grand Prix. It was a pretty fun one. We have since learnt that obviously Monaco, yeah, is very weak for the AI inside this game, but immediately finding about 10th. Through the first few corners, avoid the bump down at the hairpin there, braking maybe a little bit too early, but at least we've actually met the apex. Trying to carry the speed on the exit.
Not going to progress to the shootout. Give it your best shot. Come on.
What do you think I'm trying to do, Mark? We're trying to get inside that top 10 by the end of qualifying there and spot the braking about 120 metres out for the chicane. Oh, it took plenty of curb on the entry, but that might open up the exit the corner nicely for us. Struggle to get on that loud pedal though on the exit. Will carry a bit of speed down in towards Sector 3, but more and more times are improving from other drivers as well. Chuck the car in at the 50-metre board, absolutely fling it through the hairpin. Unfortunately, they're not able to get the car where I needed it though off of the corner. Still about 1/4 of a second up though, so we're going to need to be very brave through these final few corners there. Another few hundredths found. It is all about the marginal gains here towards the end of the lap. Oh, big snap of oversteer but we're half a second up, so we have found the speed 0.6 of a second up. Down in towards the final corner, 0.7 of a second up. Will this be Q3?
We need a good lap here or we're out of qualifying. Come on.
Oh, everybody improved. That's why we had so much more grip. It is P12 here in Abu Dhabi. That is gutting. Well, there we are then. We lost out to Alex Albon by just 4 1,000ths of a second. We did beat Fernando Alonso by 3 1,000ths of a second. So fine margins. Right at the end of qualifying, Esteban Ocon and Lance Stroll will both make it through less than a 10th from safety. But that was a really good end to qualifying. Let's hope the race we can score some points.
So here we are, ready to go racing for one final time this year. Another season of victories, controversies and rivalries lies in our wake. And just one challenge remains, here in the United Arab Emirates, on a circuit that made its spectacular debut back in 2009. Welcome to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The Yas Marina circuit is made up of 3.28 miles of track, featuring 16 corners with 2 very long straights. DRS zones going into the heavy braking zones of both Turn 5 and Turn 7 offer plenty of potential for overtaking. The circuit comes with its fair share of tricky corners, which will certainly test a driver's braking management. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Antonelli, Lance Stroll and Hamilton, Albon, Voisin, Fernando Alonso and Pierre Gasly, Norris, Piastri, Esteban Ocon, Hauger, Hulkenberg, Hadja, Ollie Behrman and Carlos Sainz. Doohan, Lawson, Sonoda and Gabriel Bortoleto rounds off the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway.
Well, grid penalties galore then here in Abu Dhabi, but 29 laps between us and successfully completing our first Formula 1 season inside this game. We've done every single racing lap. We have not DNF'd once this year, which I'm pretty happy with. It might be a glitch inside the game. Apparently DNFs are really, really low for the human player, but medium to hard tyres is going to be the strategy tonight. Let's just see what we can do. Lots of grid penalties, a very mixed up grid. 5 red lights are on though, and it's going to be lights out, and away we go. It looks like Russell from the lead of the Grand Prix hasn't got off to a good start. Charles Leclerc trying to have a look around the outside of Verstappen in towards Turn 1. I saw a little bit of carbon fibre getting flicked up, as we will try and hold firm just ahead of Fernando Alonso. There is Albon. Whoa! Alex Albon, I think, was trying to slot back in behind the Canadian there, but didn't realise that we were going to try and force our way in as well. It's Russell now dropping all the way down to 5th place off the start, so a disaster for him. Charles Leclerc, though, our new world champion, claiming the lead at the start of the Grand Prix, so a very good launch from him from 3rd on the grid. As here comes Alex Albon trying to look around the outside. Stroll. Oh, I thought about making it 3 wide there, down in towards the chicanes. We were trying again to attack those first curves. I think that was Albon there, just running into the side of me, ever so slightly off of the corner. That'll compromise our straight line speed a little bit.
The underbody's incurred some slight damage, but nothing too serious at the moment. Just be careful.
I don't mind the fact you get underfloor damage and things like that, but I wish at pit stops it would get fixed on this game. Or, sorry, red flags even, I should say. Because otherwise it does kind of condemn you to, sometimes it can be just a painful race weekend. But Hamilton down the inside, still wheel to wheel with his former teammate George Russell. Of course, Lewis, his last ever Formula 1 Grand Prix. He'll want to go out with a high 10i. As we make our way through the final couple of corners there, I'm sure P5. It's not bad going, but also not what he wants to be battling for. Stroll and Russell just in front of me. Come on, I mean, they're still wheel to wheel back through Turn 1 and Turn 2. Finally, George Russell will hang on, and everybody now in line astern, but your top 3, they're gone. Well, I tell you what then, early on, we are desperately just trying to keep up with Lance Stroll here, and I think this time round we might just have dropped out the DRS range. Not sure whether battling, normally you'd think battling with Lance Stroll is quite a bad thing in Formula 1, because it probably means your race isn't going very well, but this is about the highest I've seen him run all year. Annoyingly though, I basically used all of my battery trying to keep up with him as the McLarens slowly moving their way through a little bit further behind. But yeah, again, where the AI just so good in traction zones on this game, out onto the back straight, out onto the second back straight, and out of the first few corners, they're just so good, and there's not really a lot you can do. I think we're going to drop back into the clutches of Lando Norris pretty quickly, but as long as he finishes ahead of Lance, I'm not too worried. Oh no, Hauger! Hauger's gone! Ah, really? Final race of the year, and Dennis Hauger, I mean, he's had all the bad luck when it came to reliability this campaign, but that is a big, big shame for our teammate when what might well be his last Formula 1 Grand Prix, and he's out of it before we even make lap 10. I tell you what, as we get towards 1/3 distance, then I hope the rest of this Grand Prix isn't as quiet as this first third has been, as Lance Stroll then, he might be two-stopping here, because that's a very early pit stop to make around this circuit, but yeah, Lando Norris has slowly rocked up to the back of me. Annoyingly, that underfloor damage is really just costing us. It just means we've got to be a little bit more careful. The car feels a little bit less stable than I was really hoping it would around this venue. We are, though, however, managing the gap quite nicely to Fernando Alonso as Lando Norris then down the inside. We have to wait another year for his first Formula 1 World Championship, but yeah, we're just kind of cruising around at the moment, it feels like. There's a 6-second gap back to Piastri. Yeah, surely there's a few guys two-stopping this. We need to get these tyres ideally end of lap 12, and then we should be good to go to the end. Well, but the other issue, of course, with that underfloor damage is, of course, the car's sliding around a little bit more, so it has taken more out of these first tyres than I was hoping it would. Just so I get the car slowed down on the anchors as we make our way into pit lane then. Slightly earlier than a lot of our one-stoppers are going to be doing, but I'm hoping the hard tyres should hang on towards the end of the Grand Prix as Stroll is already out ahead of us again. Oh, of course.
Removing the left front wheel. I know it's not ideal, mate, but let's try and put it behind us and get back into this race.
Where on earth is Fernando Alonso? There he is, battling with Jack Doohan as we try and make our way out of pit lane then, but a terrible pit stop. It might be our last pit stop of the season as well, so that's been an utter disaster. Now we've got to try and close back in on Esteban Ocon just in front, but we will not have fresh tyres to do it. What on earth is going on there? A huge lockup down at the bottom of the hill. I think Alonso is struggling to find a way around Jack Doohan. What Doohan now on those mediums is an absolute sitting duck against everybody else around him. Ocon basically pushing him along through the final couple of corners, but still Doohan's not in. That might be because his teammate, I think, Pierre Gasly, has brought the car into the pit lane. But yeah, Ocon as well just sat behind him, so Jack Doohan has really been thrown under the bus here at this stage of the Grand Prix, because those tyres must not be feeling very good anymore. Ocon as well, he's on an old set of the hard tyres. I mean, look at the dirty air. So we try and make our way back out to the circuit, to the inside of Esteban. Make sure we don't run into the back of Doohan, though. So we'll just try and squeeze him out off of the hairpin.
You made it look so easy.
Come on, get the power down. Let's do this. Jack Doohan. Hopefully we're going to be able to navigate him quite easily, as Ocon as well trying to get a run. We're going to be 3 wide. Oh, what? Ocon just put me into the side of Jack Doohan. What on earth is that? Lucky that we didn't get away with more damage there, as Ocon makes the double overtake happen. We'll get past Jack Doohan as well, and hopefully breeze past the Frenchman off the exit of the corner. I mean, what was I meant to do there? We just got completely pinched between the pair of them. Around the outside, though, late on the brakes. And hopefully that's the last we have to deal of that. There we go. Trying to get some information on Alex Albon, because I couldn't work out whether he had to pit again or not before the end of the GP, but Oscar Piastri clearly wasting no time in trying to make moves happen as well then. So we try and throw the car through the first few corners. We will get the DRS from the Williams, who, yeah, is on a slightly alternate strategy here, but I didn't kind of realise just how badly we've been screwed over with that slow pit stop. It really did cost us quite a lot in this race. Goodbye, Oscar Piastri. That's going to relegate us out of the point temporarily here, but hopefully... Oh, just into the back of Oscar ever so slightly. We might give him a little bit of diffuser damage. Luckily, again, we'll get away with it just about. But yeah, this race has been, I think, scrappy is probably the best way to describe it. Not only from me, but also the AI. As Max Verstappen, he's now finally broken free from Kimi Antonelli. Could still fight for Leclerc for the win. Oh, Oscar, big movement there through the final couple of corners. That might leave him vulnerable to make our way down in towards the final turn. And down the inside we'll go. And the McLaren man yet again back into the points. I mean, there's not really much point in going for that. In fact, he might get me straight away on the run back in towards turn 1 there. But, oh, it's nice to have a bit of a fight. You know, remind that McLaren team that hopefully in the not too distant future we are going to be a threat against them for World Championships. Definitely going to take a bit more work, though, inside this game, as I'm hoping now Oscar and I should be able to move past Alex Albon and back inside your top 10, try to drain the battery off of the corner as best as we can. I mean, that McLaren just picks up off the corners like nothing else in Formula 1. Are we going to be close enough to Alex Albon? Certainly going to gain in on him, but of course now he'll have the DRS against Oscar again, so that might be quite difficult. Struggles to get the power down though off of turn whatever that is. Going to try and drain the battery to get to him, but I mean, he's just pulling away from me. I can't be stuck behind him for another lap through this final sector, so we will try and go deep around the outside, cut back in and underneath on the exit of the corner, use a little bit of battery as well. And we have a look to the inside of Albon. This is going to be close. Whoa! Just about get it slowed down inside track limits. Again, that's the kind of move Max Verstappen would make. And there we go, the second Aston Martin also into the pit lane then, so does Alex Albon, so we're going to have a bit of clear air here for at least the next few laps. Gasly about 4 seconds behind me. I know he's going to the end, so let's just see if we can manage that pace ahead of the Alpine driver. Ollie Behrman now up inside your top 10. He's done quietly quite well so far. He might have to pit again though. Oh my lord, how quick are Gasly and Tsunoda closing in on me by the time we get to the end of the back straight there. Gasly even down the inside. Annoyingly, he's going to back out of it there and wait to claim the DRS on the second part of the back straight. But, I mean, those guys, I don't even think they had DRS. They were just that much quicker than me. As there goes Gasly, there goes Yuki. Both of them around my outside there. So we bottom out over that outside curbing as well. And now the Aston Martin's only about 3 seconds behind. So this race is turning into an absolute disaster right towards the very end of it. Will Gasly or Yuki finally make that move happen? We're just sat in the wings waiting. Oh, I wanted to make it 3 wide there, but we'll not quite get the run as they're still wheel to wheel off of the corner. Tsunoda will finally hang on and make it through. So we will throw one to the inside of Pierre. We've got to try and stay in the points for as long as we can. I don't want to leave Abu Dhabi without another point on the board. Come on. Now we're just going to try and hang with Yuki for a little bit longer. I mean, how on earth is Gasly getting a run on me there by the time he gets turn 1? Utterly ridiculous. The speed the AI have got is on. Now we're playing a bit of DRS chicken through turn 1 and turn 2. I don't want to be the one to give him the DRS, so we will try and let him by. Just so I do with the detection point, but that's brought the Aston Martins in. That Stroll as well there. No! Oh, we've just had a little bit of contact as he parked it on the exit of the corner. Will that allow Gasly to run away?
Damage, and we think we should be okay to continue. It's going to cost us a little bit of time, but we're nearly at the end of the race.
I mean, this is just our last race of the year. None of us need the cars after this, so we're all just going for it. Around the outside of Sir Lance once again. Come on, come on, come on. Get in that range. Yes, we've stayed in the range of Pierre once more. This is critical. I mean, the car is gone. We've got so much damage on it. But I'm not giving up at the moment against Stroll and Alonso. Oh, just trying to use... Actually, can we try and do that? Can we hook the wheel over Lance? Sadly not. There's Alonso as well now. We'll go around the outside. I mean, look how much quicker than me they are down the straight there. Alonso, can he go 2 for 1 down in towards the corner? Oh, I've lost small wing. Oh, dearie me. Oh, this is turning into an utter disaster as Stroll again will surely get the run back around the outside of Fernando. Don't think there's going to be a lot Alonso can do.
Damage, but not enough to justify a stop in the remaining laps.
Oh, I bottomed out over the curb. Don't hit the wall. Oh, this car is completely wrecked. We got 7 seconds to Albon, but points are gone. We've just got to try and limp this wounded machine towards the flag. But if that's not a metaphor for this season, I don't know what is. Of just trying to drag this car way higher than it ever deserved to be. We might lose a spot to Albon by the end. I mean, this thing is destroyed. Well, less than a lap and a half to go then here from Abu Dhabi, but Charles Leclerc, he's less than half a lap from making it 3 wins in a row. I tell you what, Ferrari, they have built one monster of a car at the end of the season. I wonder if Hamilton only had a 1-year contract. I wonder if it's been he or Ferrari that have called time on the 7-time World Champion's career here, but I'm sure he's going to be a little bit disappointed because I think heading into next season, Charles Leclerc surely will be feeling confident that he can try and do the double, but we're just trying to defend from Alex Albon with 1 more lap to go. I'll be honest, I don't think we're going to be able to do a lot, but we should be safe from Ocon, the next spot further behind. This car, it's got massive wing damage, massive floor damage. I mean, we are just trying to throw it into every corner. Charles Leclerc, though, 3 wins back-to-back to end even, I should say. An absolutely fantastic year for he and Ferrari. What a way to go out with another win on the board. Well, I'm sure, yeah, the Ferrari team very, very happy with the results they've had this year. Max Verstappen will finish P2 not only in the race, but also in the World Championship. And Kimi Antonelli, I'm pretty certain that has been back-to-back podiums as well. So maybe next year, he and Mercedes are going to be able to spring an even bigger surprise. But McLaren, a bit of a quiet night for them. Ultimately, yeah, haven't been able to make much work this year. Only 3rd in the Constructors after winning last year. I'm sure they will be very disappointed with as well. But in towards the final corners, we've survived every single lap this season. But this one, or this race, like I said, at 1/3 distance, I hope the rest of it was going to be a lot more entertaining, and it absolutely has. Luckily for us, I don't believe this result is going to have any championship permutations. Through the final corners, P13 here in Abu Dhabi. We didn't have the pace all night long. We tried to fight. You cannot argue that we weren't committed.
Charles Leclerc, what a drive, what a victory, he wins! It's what they've all been racing towards, waiting for them. High above the pit lane is our podium. And for the lucky 3, it's time to stand on it. And who gets to take the top step of the podium? Yes, it is I, Leclerc. Charles Leclerc on top.
Well, there we are then. Charles Leclerc from 3rd on the grid. He took the lead at the start and never really looked back tonight. P1 for the Monegasque man, and like we said, 3 wins in a row. What a year it has been. Max Verstappen, despite maybe not having the car all year, proving again why he is so highly rated up and down the field with a P2. And Kimi Antonelli, like I said, 2 podiums in a row. A really, really good job, and I'm hoping next season he is going to be more of a threat to George Russell. Russell in 4th, Lewis Hamilton will bow out of the sport with a P5 finish, just ahead of both McLarens. Yuki Tsunoda, Pierre Gasly, and Lance Stroll will round out your top 10 there. Alonso, Albon, Callum Voisin, just ahead of Esteban Ocon, Ollie Behrman. Liam Lawson, P16, ahead of Doohan, Hajar, Sainz, Bortoletto, Hulkenberg, and just Dennis Hauger, our teammate who failed to see the checkered flag. What does that do as we take a look at the World Championship? Well, Leclerc now has a 2-race win margin ahead of Max Verstappen. Verstappen 7 points ahead of Lando Norris. Lewis Hamilton in 4th there, comfortably ahead of Russell and Tsunoda, who tie on 220 points apiece. Russell will win that one on countback by the end of the year. Oscar Piastri in 7th. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, a brilliant job in the end to comfortably beat out Alonso to P8. Fernando comfortably ahead of myself in the end, but we still had a 14-point buffer ahead of Esteban Ocon. Gasly had a lot of momentum towards the end of the season, just did get quite unlucky on several occasions. Sainz and Albon in 13th and 14th there. Stroll 1 point ahead of Dennis Hauger. Of course, those 18 points that Dennis scored, courtesy of ourselves, are back in Belgium. So Had we driven as Voisin and got exactly that same result, we would have lost to Alonso by just 1 point in the World Championship there. Liam Lawson in 17th, just ahead of Behrman, Doohan and Hulkenberg, with Isaac Hadjar and Gabriel Bortoletto, your 2 drivers that failed to score. Constructors-wise, Ferrari 161 clear of Red Bull, who beat out McLaren and Mercedes. Aston Martin in P5, best of the rest, ahead of ourselves. Williams do end up still ahead of Haas and Alpine, with V-Carb and Kick Sauber rounding out your championship. But there we are then. Formula 1 Season 1 of the My Team Career Mode all wrapped up. We will be back very soon with pre-season testing and of course the opening round of Season 2. But a massive thank you to everybody for all the continued support throughout the entirety of this series. And I'm going to go and see which drivers have changed, ready for next year.